why do you need to use it? A floating holder is made to follow an existing hole. Well, if I've already made the hole, why do I have to have a device or a tool holder to find it again? Well, your machine repeatability may not be exact, or you're machining a casting where that cast hole moves on positioning from part to part. That's where a floating holder comes in. So let's bring up some animation and show you what a floating holder actually does. Let's take a look at a typical machining application where a floating holder could be used. Here I've drilled the center of the part, and I can take a look and I can see my drill came through perfectly. It's right on center line. Now I come through with a standard unfloating holder or a rigid holder, and I do my reaming with that. But the problem is my machine repeatability isn't exact. And I can see now that my hole, or my center line reaming hole, is not on the center line of the drilled hole. So now my part may be out of specification. Now, let's look at the same application with a floating holder. Floating holders have a float from 1/2 millimeter up to 1.5 millimeters. This allows it to follow the existing hole. So again, RegoFix floating holder, coolant through application, and we go through and make our part. Now though, when we look at the results, we can see the center line of the reaming actually follows the center line of the drill. This part will be in specification, and that is why you use a RegoFix floating holder. So how does a floating holder work? Each floating holder, whether it be a standard size or a mini size, has a built-in spring in the back, and the spring controls the tension or the force required to move the floating portion off center. The tighter the spring, the more force to move it off center. The looser the spring, the easier to move it off center. That allows you to adjust for a small reamer or a very large reamer, or a vertical application or a horizontal application. It makes the floating holders very versatile in the way they can be used in the machines they can be used in. Floating holders can be used for coolant through applications or non-coolant through applications. In coolant through, you can use a metallic sealed